I look like a middle school boy getting ready to go to bed. Yeah!
So now we can just talk about the case. Ow, I just pulled a piece of my hair out. My weave.
I keep forgetting that you have extensions and it just looks so much like your hair that I can't.
It's fake. I'm fake.
I'm fake.
My hair is normally fake, but it's actually not today. So.
It looks good. Hi, everybody. This is my friend Ashley, and she's awesome, and you should check out her channel. And we were gonna do the John Bonet video together, and we didn't get a chance to, but today we got our McDonald's, and I am prepared to bring another case to the table. That's literally insane, and the first time I heard it, I thought it was like a Dateline thing that was like made up. But it's not. It's not fake news. It's real.
Wait,
So-
Dateline is made up?
Oh, I don't know. Is it? Maybe it's not.
Oh.
I just
I was
watched
like,
it.
Wait, really?
Or like one of those like viral TikTok stories that's like literally insane. But this took place in the 70s. So TikTok wasn't around. Also, your cat is so cute. It's hiding behind the tripod. So,
They'll probably knock the camera over before long. So
yeah, that's
we'll
okay.
see what happens.
So, this case has been titled The Girl in the Box. And, yeah, I'm like, Jack in the Box? No, Girl in the Box. It's crazy. So, on, I believe it was May 19th, 1977, this girl named Colleen Stan was going to be a good friend. She's like, I'm going to hitchhike from Oregon to California for my friend's birthday. You know, like, that's safe. But I guess, like, in the 70s, that was, like, a normal thing. And she was, like, hitchhiking, and along the way, this truck full of, like, 6 guys pulls up, and she's like, no, that's kind of sketchy. And, like,
yeah.
it's like, bye. Unfortunately for her, it may not have been the sketchiest one she'd see later that day. So, a man named Cameron Hooker. Okay, what a great last
Cameron
name.
Hooker.
If he
Wow.
would have said his last name, I would have been like, bye!
Yeah, bye. That's already sketchy.
And his wife, Janice, and their younger child pull up in their car, and they offer Colleen a ride home, and she's like, yeah, that's great. Like, or to her friend's house, sorry. She's like, yeah, that's great, you know? And while they're driving, the guy, Cameron, I'm going to keep saying Michael, and I don't know why. Cameron keeps looking in the back, like the mirror that like points to the back of the car and looks at her. But like it's not like a casual, just like, is everything okay back there? It's like,
Ew.
like a little like checking out, you know, like his wife is in the literal like front seat.
Yeah, that's gross.
Okay, so, anyways, they stop at a gas station, and Colleen goes to the bathroom. And while she's in the bathroom, she just gets this overwhelming sense, and she claims it's like an angel voice that she needs to leave. Like, climb out the gas station window and just leave. And she's like, no, it's fine. It'll be fine. It gets back in the car. And in the car, there's this wooden box. What? Okay. And it's just on the seat next to her. Like, it wasn't there before. But she's like, oh, it's fine. Just casual box in the car.
In a wooden box.
A wooden box.
Even
Like,
weirder.
a crate.
One thing if it was like
A box of fries. Like,
yeah.
same.
Yeah, like a fry box or a shoe box, but no.
Box and McNuggets.
A wooden box. Okay.
Yeah. So they get back in the car, and the dad is like continuing to like look at her, and he's like, "Is it okay if we stop at these ice caves up ahead?" First of all, like I don't know what season it is. May. Is ice caves a normal thing?
Where was this at?
They were like going from Oregon to California.
What?
I feel like maybe Kentucky, but like I don't know if that's a thing. Like if someone would have said that to me, I'd been like, what kind of drug are you on? Because I've never seen an ice cave.
Yeah, that's. I feel like that's always something that happens, like Antarctica.
Right. So yeah, they were like, "Can we stop at this ice cave?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure, I guess." Like, girl, literally hop out of the car while it's moving. Like, I'd rather risk dying than,
Yeah, that's
you know,
weird.
being whatever. So they pull over to the stop, and the family gets out of the car, and the mom and the son are like walking towards the creek, and all of a sudden she loses sight of the dad. The dad like jumps into the back seat, takes her, like binds her up, blindfolds her, gags her, and shoves her head in the wooden box and locks it. Okay, and this box, this is so weird. It's like covered with carpet on the inside to like block out her screams.
Also, it's kind of like almost like a guillotine box, like where you can like put someone's
Yeah,
head
and then
in
like
it while
lock
it's
it.
still attached to
Yeah,
their body
no,
and
he didn't
lock it.
decapitate
Yeah,
her.
okay.
So then I'm like assuming they made her like go in the back of the car because you know if they like pass someone and there's just like a girl with a box on her head, that'd be kind of alarming. So they get back to the house and he like drags her to the basement and like takes the box off of her head, hangs her up by like these hooks and like whips her.
That's awful. Oh my gosh.
And then like puts her back in a bigger box and back in the box on her head. So she's like in a box, but then in another box. She will be in that box for 7 years of her life.
Oh my gosh.
And basically, what we find out later about Cameron is that he met Janice.
Janice's wife.
Yeah. They met when she was in high school, and she was a super, like, I want to say, like, her parents were really strict, so she was kept in, like, a bubble. And they, like, didn't tell her anything about sex or anything about dating. And so they, like, didn't allow her to date. Well, then Cameron comes along, and they're like, oh, look at this nice man. Like, they're going to go on a date, and it'll be fine. So Janice goes on a date with him, and allegedly, he, like, hangs her up by a tree and whips her. And she's like, oh, this is fine. This is just what everybody does, because she never, like, seen a romance movie, like, heard any stories about anything. So she just thought that was fine. So he ends up marrying her and continues to abuse her. And, like, basically makes her his sex slave. Okay, and eventually she gets fed up with it, and she's like, listen, like, I had enough. Like, if you can give me a child, I will help you abduct someone else to become your sex slave. So that's what Colleen Stan was, because, like, he gave her the baby.
Oh my gosh.
But Janice had one stipulation. She's like, you can't have sex with her. Like, you can do whatever you want with her, but I can be the only girl you have sex with.
Yeah, I like how she's like, this is so terrible, but she has standards. Like, she's like, you can do all these terrible things, but you are not allowed to cheat on me.
Like, this girl, like, while she is horrible, like, she, you know, probably I would do the same thing. Like, not, obviously not a dumb girl, and like, become a sex slave, but, like, she has standards, and, like, you know, I respect that. But,
Values.
some
Morals.
values.
Some values, some morals.
So, they ended up, like, Janice helped take part in that torture, too. Which was really weird. And eventually, like, Colleen, like, was gonna try and escape. And Cameron was like, if you escape, like, the company, which is, like, an underground army of, like, people that collect sex slaves will find you and kill you. And, like, she honestly believed in it because he'd been torturing her so much that, like, she's like, I don't want to risk it because, you know, he's an awful person. Like, what's to say he isn't lying? So eventually she builds up, like, almost, like, a Stockholm Syndrome relationship with Cameron.
Yeah.
And he lets her, like, come upstairs and, like, be in the house instead of in the box. But keep in mind, there's this, like, little child. And he's like, who is this girl? So they tell him it's the maid and the gardener.
Oh my gosh.
And at the end of the night, she has to go back into her box. Well, eventually, Janice is tired of this whole situation because the abuse is still continuing with her. And Colleen. And she's like, fine, listen. If the abuse completely stops with me, I'll let you have sex with her. Expecting, like, that he's going to say no. Like, no, I only want to have sex with you. And he's like, okay. Which is awful, but, like, honestly, it's, like, kind of, like, to you, Janice.
Yeah.
So he ends up, like, now it becomes, like, sexual torture. And, like, makes her sign, like, an actual contract out of, like, a BDSM, like, magazine. Like, Colleen. And eventually, they move to an RV. So, like, what are they going to do with this girl who they've been keeping in the basement? Like, a torture chamber.
Right.
They have a waterbed, and they build, like, something you have to crawl into, like a wooden box under the waterbed, and that's where they keep her for the rest of her time while she's captured. But he's, like, low-key just, like, raping her and doing all these things to her. Well, keep in mind, she hasn't talked to her family in, like, 3 years. Her family thinks she joined a cult. Okay? So, on one Christmas, Cameron's like, you can call your family, so she does. And they don't really ask her any questions because they don't want to pressure her. Well, eventually he's like, she's so convinced that there's this real company out there who's going to kill her, I'm going to take her to meet her parents. He takes her to her parents' house and pretends to be her fiancé. And they believe it. Because, like, she's so lost in the Stockholm Syndrome that, like, she's too scared. And he's like, if you give any hint that it's not like what it seems, like the company will kill your whole family.
Right.
And the mom took a picture of them, and I'm gonna like put the picture in here because it's creepy because they look really happy together, and it's honestly kind of terrifying. I don't remember. So it goes on for 7 years. I don't remember the exact instance in like which she left, but basically she and Janice started attending church together, and she was just like, I don't have to put up with this anymore. And Janice is like, yeah, no, the company is bullcrap. Like that's never been a thing. And so Colleen's like, all right, I'm just gonna leave. So she literally like goes to some payphone and calls Cameron and is like, I'm leaving. Which is like kind of weird to me. Like, why would you call the guy who kidnapped you to be like, I'm leaving?
Probably still like mentally feels obligated to
Right.
tell him whatever she's doing.
And he starts like crying to make her feel bad.
Oh my gosh.
And then she just leaves.
Why do I feel like it's kind of weird how easy it was for her to just leave?
Right.
Like all of a sudden she just gets to leave.
Right. And I think, well, then they find out that like supposedly Cameron had this other girl that he found and was like doing all this other stuff too. And eventually she spoke at his trial, and I'm pretty sure not Candace, oh my gosh, Janice. Candace is from Phineas and Ferb. This is way darker than Phineas and Ferb. But Janice like speaks at the trial too. I don't remember if they actually convict him. I think they do, but it's not on like kidnapping maybe it's only on kidnapping charges and not like sexual felony.
How does that happen?
I don't know. But like I think low-key think Janice got arrested too. I don't remember. I need to look that up. But I don't know what happened to their kid. Their kid is just like low-key, like his parents have been like capturing and torturing women. And the kid just thinks it's the gardener or the maid.
Wow.
But like she was so convinced that this company was real that she was afraid to leave for 7 years.
Wow. That's crazy.
So that's the case of the girl in the box. Now, there's like a horror movie based off of it. Like, you know, we could watch the documentary because that's like Colleen Stan actually talks in it, and that's probably more accurate. But instead, we want to watch the sketchy Lifetime video that's classified as a horror movie. So we're gonna watch that, and then get back to you guys and like discuss the case more and like discuss our reactions. So we'll be back. So we just finished the movie. It was very depressing. It was not a great time. Ended up being that he got sentenced to 104 years in prison, and his wife was immune from prosecution. Is that right?
Yeah, she received. Oh my god, looks really bad. She received immunity for, like giving, like a testimony, statement against her husband, and turning him in, basically.
But she was literally in captivity for over 2,000 days. Like, and literally was forced to go home and pretend like everything was okay. I just, how do you not have serious problems from that? And like, I feel bad for the wife. I feel like she was brainwashed.
Yeah, I feel really bad for the wife too, honestly, because I feel like she was in a very similar situation. She may not have necessarily been like kidnapped like the other girl, but I feel like from the time they started dating on, he was like manipulating her and kind of brainwashing her, conditioning her, but she was obviously very uncomfortable with everything the whole entire time and really wanted to do the right thing, but I think she was just so terrified.
Right. And her poor freaking daughter. Like,
yeah, I can't believe they have a kid. It's so sad.
and the kid literally didn't even know. Oh my gosh. Wow. All right. Well, thanks for bearing with us. We're gonna be depressed now, so till next time.